quick look around the 4x4 now, something we haven't done before. This is a Toyota Prado 90 series. It's been a nice car. It has one dangerous flaw, however, and it's something we are trying to spread the message around. Lower ball joints on the front of these things need constant attention. If you don't get these checked on a regular basis, one day you'll be just driving along and all of a sudden the wheel will collapse under you. This is happening to a lot of people. These are some pictures that we've been sent by other Prado owners, and unfortunately the authorities are not paying any attention to this fault. It's an extremely dangerous fault if you don't check the ball joints regularly. The front wheel will just collapse under the vehicle and you'll be left with no effective steering, and depending on where you are, whether you're going around a corner, whether you're in heavy traffic, it's going to cause you all sorts of trouble. Now, we've approached the ACCC. They have ignored it. They should put out a warning about this vehicle, and it should be well publicised in the media that these vehicles are good, but those lower ball joints need constant supervision and replacement at regular intervals. We'll show you a little video clip now of what happened to us when we were driving along one day and all of a sudden the wheel came off. It was actually the WA Tourism Authority who had it, and looking at all the seams, it had never been off-road in its life, so it was in particularly good condition when we bought it. We've had it for a few years now. Some of the mods we've done, we haven't done a lot because we are not what I would regard as serious four-wheel drivers. We just use the vehicle to get where we want to go, and that's that. But we have the awning up here, and I'll just cut in some shots of that when it's been set up. So you buy the two items separately, you have the roof and then you have the annex part of it. Very easy to set up, about 10 minutes, and gives you enough room to sleep overnight. Let's get up now and have a look on top. We have what we believe may be an early Tracklander. Well, it's not a Tracklander, but it may be by the same company. Aluminium coated rack, very strong. We've had our big boat up here, and the latest addition to the top is the Irb Jerry Can Holder. Now, we've currently got water tanks up here, but of course you can stick standard jerry cans in there as well. One thing we found it wouldn't fit is our plastic jerry cans. It's meant for the metal style, but it will fit our plastic ones, our plastic water tanks, which is good, so we can carry an extra 40 litres of water up there. Comes in very handy. Just bolts through the bottom there onto the main structural bars. It's a pretty simple design. This part here just comes over the top and locks down into place. Clips on here and you put a padlock on. In this case, because they aren't jerry cans, you can actually get to the water if you need to get some out. Of course, if they're full to the top, you can lose a bit, but in an emergency situation, if you really desperately needed some water, you could take a cap off the water tank. You could take the cap off the water container and get to a bit of water if you need it in a big hurry. But otherwise, they sit on there very solidly, doesn't move around. Powder coated steel, so by ARB it should be a decent sort of product. Another addition that I haven't finished installing yet is this little work light at the back. That's to help us see if we're doing any work around the back of the vehicle at night. The wiring for that's not in yet, and it's just waiting for me to get home and get some proper wiring to put it in. The little light came as a freebie with the Mean Mother track rack, so it was a nice little bonus when we bought that. We've done a bare minimum of mods to the vehicle. There's just a couple of spots on there. They actually are old-fashioned, and one day maybe I'll get around to replacing them with LED lights, just to help. We don't do much driving at night these days. We try and stay off the road at night. Safer for us and safer for the animals. On this side we have the shovel holder. Very simple design. Now I've seen people mount these the other way up, with this part pointing up here. The danger with having that sticking up out here, I think, is getting it wiped off by something. There's still a little bit of a danger it'll get caught on a tree branch in this situation, but more so if it's actually sticking out the top, I think. And it's just a matter of unscrewing those and pulling the shovel out forwards. Very simple. Another item we added for this trip was a TPMS. We've got a separate video on that. Let's give him a tap. And you can see our tyres are sort of varying by 1 pound here or there. We've got them down at the moment because we've been travelling around on the station tracks. But even if those are out by 1 or 2 pounds, it really doesn't matter. Now you'll see the yellow figures at the side. They give you the temperature reading of the tyres, and there are alarms for both temperature, high temperature, and also alarms for pressure. So we've got the senders on the valves. There's another video on this, so I'm not going to go on too much about it here, but just to say that's one thing that we added to this vehicle for the trip, just so that we can easily keep track of what our tyres are doing at any given time. This is a cheapy eBay version. You'll see these all over eBay. Been happy with it. It works. The senders work. I can change the minimums and maximums and other settings on here. So to date, no problems at all with that. It does exactly what we want. At a glance we can see what our tyre temperatures and pressures are doing. As far as I can see, that's $40 well spent. Of course, the other item you will have seen in one of our other videos was the treads and the track rack being put on. That was put on specifically for this trip. We had no idea what the conditions were going to be like up here and what we were going to be driving around in. As it turns out, we didn't need them. The roads are all good. In fact, I've barely had the vehicle in four-wheel drive. The only time I have is to get the boat down to the beach and bring it back up. Other than that, the station tracks here have all been very good, if a little bit corrugated at times, but other than that, no need for four-wheel drive at all. So not much in the way of mods to the old Prado. We do use it mostly as a passenger vehicle, so we don't have anything in the back in the way of drawers. At the moment we just have some stuff we need to keep dry in here, tools and that riding in there, and you can see the angle with the 2-zone on it. But because we use this as a passenger vehicle most of the time, the seats are just folded forward now. We don't have any drawers or any of the flash things that some of the other guys have. Just a pretty basic setup. It's a nice car, been pretty happy with it. Economy is reasonable, decent amount of towing power, and the few times we have had it in four-wheel drive, it's pretty much floated over the sand. We don't do mud driving. I hate mud. I cannot for the life of me understand why people enjoy driving in that stuff, but not my thing. In any case, most places where there's mud there's no fish, so I'm not terribly interested. These are the sort of places we like to come with the 4x4. Bring the camper trailer down, sit by the beach and hope to catch fish. Unfortunately this time no, but it's still, as you can see, what a beautiful campsite. Pretty hard to go past that, isn't it? The other mods on the car, just a couple of side steps and the rhubar on the front. TJM. Unfortunately no winch. It would be something I would contemplate if we did a lot more four-wheel driving, but for what we do, a lot of what we do is on sand anyway, so there's not a lot to winch from on sand. That's why we've got the treads and a shovel.